Syria condemns the two terrorist blasts in Volgograd, Russia, and expresses concern over the spread of global terrorism. Syrian army found the terrorist hideouts in Deir ez-Zor, Homs, and Damascus, killing many terrorists. The independent newspaper says that Al Saud family are paving the way for a sectarian war that spreads across the Islamic world by supporting certain religious figures who promote hatred. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab television in Damascus. Syrian government severely condemned the two terrorist blasts in the city of Volgograd, south of Russia. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the expatriates said that Syrian Arab Republic expresses deep concern over the spread of global terrorism and urges the international community to face this phenomenon. For the second day in a row, terrorism struck the Russian city of Volgograd, killing 17 people and wounding several others. The Russian RT channel said that at least 14 people were killed and nearly 30 were injured when a bomb blast tore through a trolley bus in the southern Russian city of Volgograd today. The explosion, said to have been the work of a suicide bomber, came a day after another suicide attack killed at least 17 at the city's main railway station. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with the director of the Russian Federal Security and asked him to tighten security measures in Volgograd after the suicide attacks. As part of fighting terrorism in Syria, Syrian Arab army units killed large numbers of terrorists. One of them holds the Palestinian nationality, destroying their weapons in Adra al-Balad, Duma, Harasta, Arvin, Yabrud, and Azabadani and Daraya in Damascus countryside. A military source said that 30 terrorists were killed in several specific operations in the town of Duma. Among the terrorists killed, there was the Palestinian Muhammad Awad, nicknamed Abu al-Fida. In Azabadani, a unit of the Syrian Arab Army eliminated a terrorist gathering, while other Syrian Arab Army units pounded other gatherings for the terrorists from al-Nusra in the farms of Rima in Yabrud, killing 15 of them. Meanwhile, units of the Syrian Arab Army were able to free a large number of civilians who were held by the armed terrorist groups in Adra al-Umaliye residential compound in Damascus countryside. The Syrian Arab Army carried the civilians to secure areas and provided food and clothes for them. Many terrorists were killed as they tried to attack the civilians during their evacuation from Adra. Syrian Arab Army units also targeted several terrorist groups in Al-Huli and the surrounding villages in Homs countryside. They also confronted the terrorists who tried to attack the National Hospital of Al-Huli. The Israeli occupation forces hospitalized 2 members of the armed terrorist groups fighting in Syria in Zayaf hospital in Safad in the framework of the Israeli support to the armed terrorist groups in Syria. According to the Israeli occupation website, 209 terrorists fighting with the armed terrorist groups in Syria have been treated in Zayaf hospital, while 17 others are still taking their treatment in the same hospital. The independent British newspaper for the Middle Eastern Affairs published an article by reporter Patrick Cockburn revealing that the Gulf kings, on top of them Al Saud, are founding for a sectarian war to be spread all over the Islamic world through supporting religious figures who promote hatred campaigns on electronic sites, which have the biggest effect to the return of Al-Qaeda organization. Cockburn clarified that the satellite channels, the electronic sites, YouTube and Twitter are the main axes for planting hatred and fear in all over the world, adding that Syria and Iraq are witnessing the most spreading violence acts due to the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria that belongs to Al-Qaeda organization, which recruit suicide extremists. Those extremists take their knowledge from a number of extremist preachers who are all over the world and the internet pages and call for a sacred war with youth who taught to fight. The Saudi support led to the creation of a sectarian monster in the region. The sole beneficiary from it is the Zionist enemy, where Israeli reports, and in accordance to Al-Manar al-Maqdisi, a newspaper, stressed that the interest between the occupation forces and their Gulf rulers are in their golden age. The important services the Saudi intelligence body is doing to the Israeli entity is paying the Israelis to treat the members of the armed terrorist groups in Syria. Also an arms deal for selling Israeli-made weapons to Saudi Arabia, and information exchange concerning Syria to support these extremist armed groups. Idlib, Suwaida and Latakia cities are celebrating Christmas with the 62nd Tree Day.
Tree is another name for life, and life would be better with smiles, so that Idlib city was celebrating the 62nd Tree Day in Tishrin Park, as people there was planting about 600 trees in the Matis neighborhood, and the celebration included a carnival and play shows. While in Suwaida city, the Ministry of Agriculture has set a central forestation campaign for fruitful pine, fin and cedar trees, in addition to Latakia city, which has also set a forestation campaign shared by the Matis families in planting laurel, pine and carob trees.
Minister of Higher Education Dr. Malik Ali said that the ministry is ready to provide all the requirements of the educational hospitals, including medical staff and equipment, as well as development of technologies needed. The minister pointed out that the purpose of his tour in the divisions of the cardiac surgery at the Children's Hospital in Damascus was to be briefed on the readiness of the hospital and on the medical services provided for the patients there. The minister also toured the emergency department at the hospital of Al-Muasa to make sure of its readiness to receive the patients. He listened to the patients and their complaints, and also heard from residential doctors about their problems. Warfare could not silence their throats or stop their small hands. School students expressed their adherence to hope for a better future through participating in the event Keep War Away From Us, held in Damascus-based the Opera House.
عم نخاف ونرتعب من هالناس هدول اللي عم يدمروا بلدنا، يعني انه كل المشكلة انه هي بلدنا هو بوضع سيء وعم بيموت كل يوم يعني اشخاص كثيرة.
The event taking place in cooperation between the Ministries of Education and Culture is a children's initiative for calling upon the world to stop the war of terrorism waged against the country, which targeted schools. The event included an exhibition of painting and photos of school students who expressed their hope and sorrow as messages to the relevant sides in the state for affirming their role in defending them, as well as the international organizations. Keep War Away From Us, an event also included a documentary on the damaged schools containing images and statistics provided by Ministries of Education and Culture and Syrian Commissions for Family Affairs. Education Minister Hazwan Al-Waz said that all government bodies are working to confront repercussions of terrorism committed by armed groups against children, pointing out that a full file has been set to expose the damages of the education sector despite some turbulent, hard-to-reach areas. The minister clarified, "We have not come only to alleviate children's sorrow, but also to contribute to pushing the educational development operation forward."
With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now to the latest in business and market news with Vani Kulashian, but after a short break.